and welcome to Tarmac. I am Dave.
I'm Matthew, and this unmistakable shape behind us is none other than the new Jaguar F-Type R.
Gorblimey geezer, that's right. It's some British V8 bruteness, and it's all here ready to be played with. Come, let's take a gander at this. As you well-informed people would already know, the F-Type is the spiritual descendant of the E-Type, which obviously was a classic in its day. This really is, apart from looking around a few of the bonnet scoops and stuff like that, is a long way away from where that car was, both in the way it drives and also the way it's powered. We'll get to how it's powered in a minute. But this new model, basically very similar to the one that's just gone out, but it has a few tweaks to make it look even better. Firstly, the things like the headlights are more narrow than ever before, and also some DRLs with the double J's. Nice, and plenty of lower scoop, but the rest of it, this one is the R, and basically the top of the range at the moment as far as performance goes. But again, we'll get to the performance in a minute. Round the side, as I said, this one's basically now got more of a smoothness about it, more of a flushness, and including this lovely clamshell bonnet, which again we'll open in a minute. 20-inch feet, which are actually with very low profiles on the tires, and bigger brake discs on the front rather than on the rear, and also four-wheel drive in this particular model, although there is a two-wheel drive option as well. Looking further down, when you open up the car, the door handles come out to meet you, which is really good for getting in, and also comes with a nice panoramic roof as far as that goes. And then you've got these big wide haunches out here for this two-seater sports car. While the sunlight's beaming down as it is, you can actually see right here, with this model here is the racing green or heritage green. So really going back to its racing or Jaguar racing green roots, and also metallic. I think it's $1,000 option, but so it's a pretty good value for this type of vehicle. What you've got is a lovely, look at that boot spoiler goes across there, quad exhaust, which again, you can, with this model, what they've done is they've made it on quiet on startup, but you can bypass that by switching it into race mode or switching the exhaust mode on just prior to startup, and then you can annoy the neighbors, which is what you're supposed to do, of course. Also the tail lights, these are more narrow again, LEDs, and also with the chicane type look here. So you can see from there, look at that lovely chicane, and this car really does handle chicanes very well. And also because it is a Jag, you can actually open it, look at that, soft opening and also soft closing or electric closing, because you know you don't want to go through that weight of lifting things up. Now let's take a look under the bonnet. You gotta love a clamshell bonnet, it just looks so good. Anyway, a 5-litre V8 supercharged engine that gives you 423 kilowatts of power and 700 newton meters of torque. This is a monster. It is the most efficient V8 that they've done so far, but you know, 11 litres per 100 kilometres, not exactly sipping fuel. And also, I think it's 250 grams of CO2s per litre. So again, it's not exactly perfect for this environment, but you know, maybe the CO2s are going to help grow the trees. So there could be the trade-off from there. It really is. I mean, it's slapped to it's married to an 8-speed gearbox, and again, with that all-wheel drive system, it all goes at is it 3.7 seconds 0 to 100. So this thing is quick too. Speaking of things that are quick, Matthew's inside, and he'll show you what's going on in there.
As Dave said, speed, or rather quickness, is of the essence here, because I do want to get through this interior quickly so we can go and take this for a drive. But before that, let's touch on some of the highlights in here. So firstly, the leather. Well, Jag is really famous for its high quality of interiors. When I mean quality, I mean the leather, the suede, all that stuff, just beautiful. And this F-Type is no different. On the dashboard, you get leather trim over there, some beautiful contrast stitching in sort of a brownish color, which is the option in this interior. You get these leather bucket seats as well, which are really firm and hold you tight around the corners. Again, just sort of the perforations and the stitching is all just beautiful to touch. The other option in this car is, of course, the panoramic sunroof, which you can see above me. lovely to look out of on a day like today. And then when you don't want the sun inside, you can just slam it shut like that. In terms of storage spaces, obviously it's not an F-Pace. It's not that practical. It is a sports car after all, but you do get some usable sized door bins, a nice glove box there, and of course, a bit of storage space underneath there for your phone. There's also this oddly shaped thing over here, which doesn't quite fit your key, though it looks like it's supposed to. But anyway, the other big change in the interior here, of course, is that touchscreen. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at that. Now, obviously, for practicality's sake, it's got all of these shortcuts on the home screen, your navigation, media, phone, and it's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. The mode that you actually want to be in is this one here, or Dynamic Eye as it's called. So if you press that helmet-shaped shortcut, you arrive at this menu where you can toggle around with the engine, steering, gear, and suspension settings. Obviously, they're all in dynamic right now because that's the mode we're in. But because this is the R model and it's so track focused, if you press this set of icons on the side here, you get to a stopwatch for your laps, of course. You get to a G-force monitor, and then lastly, a monitor of how much throttle or brake you're using. And it'll give you a graph of your performance as well if you really want to be examining your laps so closely. It is that kind of car, and once we get it out onto the road, you'll be able to tell how firmly it's been set up for that sort of use. Now, in front of you, one of the other updates that's come into this new generation is, of course, a fully digital gauge cluster. So this is the traditional setup in front of me, which is the speedo on the left, your rev counter on the right, and then, of course, a map in the middle. The big deal here is that you can configure whatever you want to appear in the middle. So if you press the menu button here, you can toggle between different sort of information displays. You can have your media on there, the road surface, your safety warnings, even stuff like the VIN you can have in the middle there for whatever reason. But it is a Jag, of course, so we won't question their judgment. The other cool thing is not just the technology in front of you, but it's also the steering wheel. This big circular leather wrap steering wheel feels so good to hold and really gives you a good sense of throwing this car around corners, which you would love to do, especially around a track. Obviously, the leather is very nice. It is a Jag. It's got plenty of buttons there and metal gear shifts, or metal paddles rather. As you can see, this F-Type R is really premium and really sporty on the inside, but it's not all just show. There's a lot of performance behind it as well. So let's take it onto the road and show you exactly what.
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm going to have to come and admit that this is going to be a slightly biased review because, being English, this is obviously the best car in the world. But the reality is it is a great car, and it is super fast, and it is super it's such a good looking car. I mean, from every angle. The nose is good looking with the new squinty headlights and the big haunches out the back that you can see through the rear view mirror, and then the chicane tail lights. I mean, it really is lovely. And then the exhaust note is just tremendous when you flick it over and get above 3,000 revs or 3,500 revs. It just makes a lovely sound, and oh, lovely. Like I said, it's going to be a biased review.
I might like to remind Dave again that Jag isn't English anymore.
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
But I have to agree with him on the exhaust note at least, because it's just amazing. And Jag have been doing this supercharged V8 engine for a long time now, so they really know what they're fiddling with. And it just shows every time you rev the car, you downshift, the crackle that you get from the exhaust and the rev, it's just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, obviously, Jaguar have announced they're going electrified by 2025, which, in theory, that makes this one of the last hurrahs for it. I don't know how they're going to go on, and I don't even pretend to know how they're going to go fully electric, but if this is the last hurrah, then what a hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. It's great. The rest of it, okay, taking one step back, your seating position's great in a sports car, two-seater sports car. I'm a little bit too close to Matthew as far as I'm concerned, but there you go. Visibility out the back is actually all right. It's from a slanted point of view, you get to see the rear spoiler and stuff like that, and the wing mirrors or door mirrors are probably small, but you can just about see out stuff that's behind you. But as we've said with other cars that are sporty, who cares what's behind?
I mean, I was telling Dave actually earlier that it's not impractical for a two-seater sports car. You know, the driving position is not really uncomfortable. There's usable space in the boot for your golf clubs, I guess, if that's what you're using this for. And there's a couple of other spaces here and there for your knickknacks. The ride itself as well isn't jarring at all. It is on the firmer side for sure, but nothing that you can't get used to really.
Yeah, the thing which we do have to bring out is these 20-inch wheels with the low profile. In New Zealand, there is a lot of road noise. This road seems to be all right, but when you get to that open pore sort of surface, it is quite annoying is pretty much what I'd call it. But then, it's a Jaguar, so I forgive it everything.
I mean, the answer to any issues with the ride basically is just press the accelerator a little bit harder, because it makes all the road noise and all the bumps
all your cares, all your worries disappear. And really, it's all up when you start going into there you go, the 3,500 revs is where everything comes alive, and wow, it's alive.
I mean, my face is starting to hurt now because that noise is just so intoxicating. And although it's loud in here, if you're standing outside, as we'll show you, it's ear-piercingly loud, but in the nicest possible way.
The rest of it, I mean, design-wise, they really have nailed it. Ride-wise, this being the all-wheel drive, it does feel very well balanced, and probably more balanced than the normal V8 would be in a two-wheel drive. And it's hard to top this. I know there's probably going to be an SVR. I don't know that for sure, but there probably will be. And unless they put electrification into it and get it off the mark that second faster, it's hard to top this.
It is the driving sort of comfort, or rather the driving stability of this car is just incredible. Going around corners, it's just absolutely flat, and the way it shifts the weight so well, you can just see Dave's confidence in this car. It's a really amazing driver's car, so no wonder there's all this sort of telemetry for track use, because I can just imagine it'll be absolutely incredible around the track.
And I've got a lot of weight to shift around, actually. I like the new screens. I like the fact that there's plenty of information and I can personalize it. There's no head-up display, but then there's not much room for anything else in here, to be honest. And just there's a loud stereo with a massive woofer. But really, you're hard pushed to get over that V8 sound, and what a soundtrack, So just keep making those noises. Brilliant.
It does take your breath away.
So there you have it, the new F-Type 575, which is the horsepower V8 supercharged Type R, everything. Look, this is just an amazing sports car, all-rounder that just even wants to go. It's just ready and rearing to go. That sounds amazing, particularly when you want to annoy the neighbors and leave the exhaust note on and all that sort of stuff. It's fast, it's good looking, it's amazing.
It's probably the best version of this F-Type, honestly, that we've experienced. An assault on the senses, your sight, your hearing, everything. It's an amazing machine.
I don't know, it's an assault on your sight. It's more... Now, really, top drawer for this. It's not the best sports car out there, but it's British, so it really is. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. It will be around here somewhere. And we'll see you on the next one.